She stood at the fence line, yelling like she was queen of the suburbs. "Your cornfield is a fire hazard," she screamed, as if my standing crop was one giant match waiting to burn down her neighborhood. I almost laughed. Her backyard tiki torches posed more risk than my field ever would. But the way she said it, sharp, public, cutting, told me this wasn't just a petty complaint anymore. Not long after, I caught the smell of fuel where it didn't belong. Footprints by my fence at hours when no decent soul should be out. Suddenly, every rustle in the stalks sounded like a day or two. Lose everything I'd built. The harvest that meant everything. That week, I held the first ear of corn in my hands. After 20 years of farming, harvest season still scared me. One good ear meant Emily's college fund stayed safe, the bank got their loan payment, and we kept our home. But that morning, the sharp sting of fuel in the air froze my gut. This wasn't natural. My 15 acres sit right next to the Maple Grove HOA community. I was never part of their association. My land predates their subdivision by decades. But for months, Clara Benton, a board member with her pressed pantsuits and clipped tone, had been prowling my property line. Clipboard in hand, always measuring, always calculating. Then came her email, final agricultural fire hazard notice. Immediate compliance or legal action. It carried official-looking letterhead, legal language, and her digital signature. Pure fiction. HOAs have no authority over farmland. But the paper had weight. She was building something. Evidence in the grass. At dawn, I found 3 red plastic fuel canisters shoved deep into the weeds on my side of the boundary, still damp with residue. From my volunteer firefighting days, I knew accelerant placement when I saw it. This wasn't careless. It was methodical. Later, my security camera gave me the truth I dreaded. Grainy footage showed Clara sneaking onto my acreage after midnight, carrying jugs and checking distances. Timing devices glinted in her hands. She wasn't inspecting, she was scouting. Worse, she dropped papers near the fence. Handwritten notes in her neat script laid out staged fire records and insurance payout estimates. She had calculated profits from my ruin. Real estate values, property acquisition, strategies, insurance claims, mapped in bullet points with projected margins. This wasn't harassment anymore. It was criminal plotting dressed up as civic duty. The conspiracy revealed. The next evening, she gathered 3 men in suits behind the HOA clubhouse. No neighbors, no agenda, just a projector humming. From my shed roof, I aimed a parabolic mic and camera. Her words chilled me. When the agricultural fields inevitably burn, payouts must be immediate. She scrolled through slides of red arrows, profit margins, maps of my land. She even said it plainly, sometimes property owners need dramatic motivation to accept reasonable offers. The adjusters nodded. Agricultural fires create obvious liability, one said. Claims can be processed instantly. They weren't planning, they were rehearsing. Crime packaged as business strategy. I archived everything. Photos, audio, video, handled like trial evidence. Building a case. When I played the recordings for my lawyer, Aaron, his face went pale. This isn't civil anymore. This is arson, fraud, conspiracy. Contact the FBI now. The Bureau didn't hesitate. Agent Cole Patterson called my evidence a national case. Agricultural fires tied to insurance scams fall under federal jurisdiction. Within hours, the state fire marshal dispatched investigators. County deputies joined in. 3 levels of law enforcement coordinated like it was a counterterrorism drill. They wired me with a recording device, issued a panic button, and placed trackers on Clara's car. If the fire starts, trigger the signal. We'll be there immediately, Patterson told me. The sting. That night, surveillance confirmed Clara bought more accelerants. Just after midnight, she and an accomplice crept into my field, fuel canisters in hand. They traced deliberate lines of accelerant, checked wind speed, and set multiple ignition points. When the flames roared up, I hit the signal. Walker here. Blaze in progress. Multiple sites. Within minutes, lights flashed across the horizon. Fire crews, deputies, bureau agents. Dozens converging in perfect coordination. They caught Clara and her partner red-handed, ignition devices still clutched in their hands. You're under arrest for first-degree arson, insurance fraud, and conspiracy, Patterson declared as cuffs locked. From HOA politics to federal felonies. The evidence was overwhelming. Ignition devices wired with timers, chemical residue in the soil, audio of planning sessions, financial records. Even while fire crews contained the blaze, federal agents stacked charges: arson, fraud, racketeering, property destruction. 40% of my crop was gone. Emily's college fund turned to ash. But restitution laws meant she would pay for every loss. At dawn, agents raided Clara's house. Neighbors watched in robes and slippers as boxes of files were hauled out. Insurance claims, real estate maps, secret bank accounts. The woman they'd trusted to manage property values was unmasked as a felon. Collapse of a scheme. Within days, her co-conspirators, the insurance adjuster and property assessor, were arrested on racketeering charges. Facing decades in prison, they turned on her, handing over emails, contracts, and recordings. National prosecutors pursued the case as organized crime. The grand jury indicted Clara Benton on 12 felony counts: arson, fraud, conspiracy, racketeering. Each carried decades in federal prison. Financial investigators traced $150,000 in hidden accounts from prior scams. Her assets, house, cars, properties, were seized. The HOA scrambled to save face. A public apology declared she had acted alone. New bylaws were rushed, through promising never again to let board power be abused this way. Justice delivered. In court, I testified. She didn't just burn crops. She burned my family's future. Prosecutors compared her scheme to domestic terrorism against farming communities. The judge agreed. At sentencing, Clara received 25 years in federal prison, a $500,000 fine, and full restitution. Every asset she owned was liquidated to pay victims. Emily's tuition fund was replenished directly from forfeited accounts. Neighbors stood stunned as the gavel fell. The woman who once preached property safety would spend the rest of her life branded a felon, stripped of wealth and freedom. The aftermath. My fields regrew the next season. Green shoots pushed through blackened soil, proof that life doesn't surrender so easily. But the real victory wasn't just crops rising again. It was knowing the system worked, that when criminals torch livelihoods for profit, the law torches their future in return. Clara Benton's name now sits in federal records, a warning that anyone who tries to disguise crime as community safety will face maximum justice. Sometimes justice comes slow, sometimes fast, but it always comes. She torched my harvest for greed, and in the end, the law torched her life.